what that means, don't you, Chuckster?
I'm in trouble, Ernie.
It means we're back from the All-Star break and back into the steam room.
I'm in trouble, Ernie.
This is not a good way to start the proceedings.
I screwed up.
What did you do?
I left my first of all list in the room. I'm going to try to remember everything I want to talk about. I did. I had a really cool list. And
Don't you hate that feeling when you know you've forgotten something? When it's like, okay, oh, man.
I had a good list, too.
I'm sure we can jog your memory a little bit.
Got the Auburn education.
Okay, then maybe we won't do a first of all.
The number one ranked team in the land.
By the way, welcome everybody to the steam room.
Yes,
Charles
welcome everybody.
Barkley,
Glad to
Ernie
be back. And Ernie, this is when it gets fun for me.
Basketball season, NBA season,
all
or
of
basketball in general, because
now this is the finish line.
No, there are under 30 games to go in the NBA season,
and got March Madness coming up,
and then the playoffs.
Don't get me excited about vacation, because this is, to me, the best time. Because, it's the best time as a player, too. Because, when the season starts, you're like, damn, we got 82 games.
Some of those January nights, man.
Let me tell you something. There was a couple years in Philly. I was 14 and 32. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, it's only January. The season's over. But now guys can see the finish line. It's exciting. It's fun. You get your second win. It's great. So I'm ready.
All right. So let's test your recall and see if you can just picture. No, here's the deal. Picture yourself, Chuckster, at your place. You've got your sheet out.
Yes.
And you're jotting things down. What was the first thing you wrote down?
All-Star Weekend.
There you go.
I want to just say, the All-Star Weekend, everybody's got an opinion. I'm going to take up for the players first and foremost a little bit. There were too many breaks in between the games. I understand their gripes with that. Because you don't want to start playing basketball and stop. Number one, the tribute to us was really awesome, but it did break up the game. And then they had the three-point thing with the young kid against Dame Lillard. If they want to do that, they got to do it. They can't stop the game in the middle. So I want to acknowledge that to the players. I understood their complaints and understood. That's the first thing. Second, I want to give some love to Mac McClung. Mac McClung, you've really been the highlight of the All-Star game the last 3 years. I thought you've been great. Congratulations on your 3-year run. I just want to say thank you, man, because you have been the highlight of the All-Star weekend for 3 years in a row. It's been incredible. Now, for the players complaining about the format, when you have kids and they screw up their room and you make them clean it up, shut the hell up and just clean up your room. You don't get the luxury of complaining because y'all screwed up the All-Star weekend. That's why we're out here trying kamikaze stuff to try to entertain the fans. Guys, we're so lucky and blessed. We're so lucky and blessed to make millions of dollars to play a stupid game. I wish y'all understood and appreciated how lucky and blessed we are. And you guys make more money than all the guys who did the heavy lifting before us. And bless you. I don't care how much money you make, but you do have an obligation to the game. And, people always talk about leave the game in a better place than you came in. I don't know if y'all understand that. Complaining about the All-Star format does nothing good for our product. The good thing about it, I'm not going to lie, we don't have to televise that thing anymore. I'm not even upset. Because if y'all don't take it serious, why should the network and the fans take it serious? So y'all complaining about the format. Y'all are the reason the format's bad.
Or that the format was used.
Yes. And I'll say this. I've said it for 5 to 7 to 10 years. International against the United States. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's do that. So that's all I'm going to say. I want to thank the city of San Francisco and Glide, the homeless shelter I spent time with. And, we do have a homeless problem in San Francisco, and I wanted to bring awareness to it. So I wish them nothing but the best. And good luck, because it's going to be a serious issue, and you need to try to do something about it.
That's a pretty good first of all right there. I don't know if there was other stuff that you'd written down, but
oh yeah,
that covered a lot of ground right there.
It did.
Chuckster.
The second thing was
there is more.
There's more.
Well, I'm just trying to take the pressure off of you trying to remember.
Obviously, immigration is a number one thing in our country right now, and my heart was broken when I saw in Texas this 11-year-old girl killed herself because she's worried about them picking up her mom and dad. And man, just sitting there watching this story, it just broke my heart. 11-year-old girl was worried about ICE and immigration, and she was getting bullied at school. They were making fun that they were going to pick her and her parents up, and she took her own life. And I'm like, why are other students that cruel to a young girl? And listen, I understand immigration is a big deal and a serious issue in this country. My biggest thing is, man, let's just kick out the bad people. Let's lead the hard-working people. Like, this country was built on immigrants. And I know, obviously, I don't believe we can just let people come across the border at any time. But picking up people who we need to help in this country, the government needs to take a step back and have some humility, some empathy, some sympathy, because separating families and things like that, man, it just hurts my heart. We're a better country than that. We're a much better country than that. And so just have some empathy and some
compassion.
Sympathy. Compassion, yes, that's a good word.
There you go.
And last and not least, I went to Costco.
Is this the first time?
First time.
Okay, well, okay. Because it's like, okay, you need that context. Otherwise, it's like, okay, went to Costco.
A couple of my other stores that I go to all the time, they don't believe in DEI practices. So I'm not going to boycott them totally, but I'm going to go to more stores who really into DEI because I think it's really important. You know, because for some reason, people have been brainwashed to think DEI means only black people. They don't think it means veterans. They don't think it means women and things like that. But like I say, for some reason, they only think black people have benefited from DEI, and that's 100% not true. And when I was looking at the list of people who support DEI against, I said, you know what? I'm going to start spending most of my money at places that support DEI. Because like I say, women have benefited the most. Veterans, you know, they talked about maternity leave and things like that. People with disability getting jobs. So I want to support, I'm a big believer in DEI. So I went in my first Costco. Man, it's a lot.
I was going to say, what was it that you were out of that you said, hey, I'm going to run over to Costco and get this? So what did you go in there needing?
I didn't need anything. I just want to become a member.
Okay.
I'd never.
So you didn't buy anything when you were there?
I got a tour. So now I'm like, man, I can't believe how much stuff they got in there.
I thought you might have come back with like 700 rolls of toilet paper.
No, I wanted to just get a lay of the land when I go in there to start shopping.
Okay.
I had some free time. I was looking at.
Let us know when that's going to happen. I think having a camera crew along with Chuckster at Costco might be quite entertaining.
I could do some damage at Costco.
Yeah. Excuse me, where's the Diet Coke? Here, right here, Mr.
Give me a
Barkley.
pallet. Give me a pallet. Give me a pallet of Diet Coke.
Very good.
But man, I tell you, Ernie, I'd never been in one before. It was impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be a big Costco fan going forward. It's very intimidating.
Yeah.
But anything I need, I know I can get there.
You certainly can.
So it's pretty cool.
What an eye-opener.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opener.
What an eye-opener at the age of 62 for the Chuckster. It is the Chuckster's 62nd birthday, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that amazing, man? 62 years old.
62. And look, remember Jesse Itzler on our show the other day? Remember his huge calendar?
Oh, yeah.
Look what Jesse Itzler
I know, he sent me
the big-ass calendar.
Oh, we got a Sharpie, too. Now we're in heaven.
Yeah, well, you got to be able to write on that thing. But isn't this the big one right here?
What is this?
I think that's the really big one, right?
Oh, this is a really big calendar.
So you have the planner and the calendar.
I didn't even know they made them this big.
Oh, Chuckster.
This got to go on the wall.
Oh, that would be
It's got to go on the
probably
wall.
the thing to do. What were you thinking? If it didn't go on the wall, where would it go?
Oh, well, I mean, I got it on the kitchen counter.
Yeah, that's not going to fit there.
This will cover up the whole counter.
Get a nice little frame for that thing, Chuckster, and put it up. Thank you, Jesse.
Jesse, thank you.
Yeah, he was a great guest.
Oh, man.
There you go. So you got a plant, man, Chuck.
The big ass planner.
Yeah, that's good. That'll go right where you need it to be, right there in your place.
Oh my God, Jesse, thank you, brother.
Man,
62, Ernie.
Because there's a lot of stuff that you got to do when you're 62, and you can write Costco in big old letters on that.
Hey, I bet they sell these at Costco. Guaranteed.
We'll be back. We welcome you back inside the steam room.
This is pretty special for me, Ernie.
Because of your Philadelphia ties.
Not just that.
Because of your ties to the Kelce family.
Yes, but also even better.
Do tell.
Introduce our guest first.
Jason Kelce. This guy is Eagle through and through.
Baby. Yes.
Has a Super Bowl ring to his credit. Just watched his beloved Eagles win the Super Bowl. Beating his brother's team in the process. Jason Kelce joining us. Hey, thanks a lot for taking a little time with us. We appreciate it, Jason.
Of course, Ernie. Thanks for having me, guys.
In fairness,
Certainly.
he's got nothing to do. The season's over.
We have only one rule in the steam room, and that is keep your towel on. And if you can abide by that, we're going to get along just fine.
So,
go ahead, Chuck.
That's a great rule.
You know how you always want to meet people.
Yes.
So obviously I live in Philadelphia during the summer, and for years I've been trying to meet Jason. And because everybody likes Jason. And I was like, I want to meet that guy. So I haven't met him in all these years because obviously he's been busy during the summer. So finally, one of our good friends, Mike Quick, says, hey, I'm going to set up golf with you and Jason Kelce. I'm like, dude, I've been trying to meet this dude for 10, 15 years. He said, set it up. And the point I want to make was, when you meet somebody, we've had this conversation before.
Yes.
When you meet somebody you want to meet and they're you can't watch them in a movie, you can't watch them on television, it pisses you off. But then when you actually meet somebody that you really want to meet and they're just as kind and considerate, we played golf, grabbed lunch together, and I remember telling Mike Quick, I owe you one for that one. Yeah. So that's what I want to tell.
Jason, did you have that same desire to one day meet the Chuckster, or did you say, oh, round of golf? Sure, I'll go.
Oh, my gosh. I tell you what, when Mike Quick shot me the text, hey, Chuck is going to be in town. He wants to golf. I'm like, dude, this is like pinnacle of things I've ever wanted to achieve in meeting a sports figure. Ernie, I'm sure you've heard this story. I know Chuck, I've told this story a million times, but Chuck was like the biggest star in our household, so much so that my brother told all of our neighbors his name was Charles. Like he wanted to be Charles Barkley so bad. We found out at a block party, everybody was coming out their house and like, oh, look at Charles running around out there. We're like, man, Charles, what are you talking about? That's Travis. Oh, he told us his name was Charles.
I don't know if you know this part of that story, and it's not part of that story, but when Chuck was a youngster, he wanted to be known as Travis, not because of your brother, but because of a guy in his neighborhood named Travis Abernathy. Right, Chuckster?
100%.
Really?
Did you tell people that your name was Travis?
gosh.
Or you just wanted that to be your name?
No, so I remember telling my mom, I said, Mom, I want to change, because Travis was like the stud in town.
Yeah.
And I said, Mom, I want to change my name to Travis. She says, why? Is this because he's the best athlete in our city, and there's nobody. Name me one famous Charles who plays sports. I want to change my name, and I'll be a much better player. This is a 100% true story, Jason. And my mom's like, you're the biggest damn idiot in the world. You're named after your grandfather. You're named after your grandfather. I'm not changing your name. And I said, yeah, that's a perfect example. He's a nobody.
You didn't say that.
That's exactly what I said.
You did not say that to your mother.
I did. I said, it was her dad. It was her dad. I said,
you can't say that about her dad.
No disrespect. He was a nobody.
What do you mean, no disrespect? You're the worst. say.
Oh my gosh.
So has it sunk in yet, Jason? This latest victory, and how gratifying, how satisfying was it for you?
It sunk in the first half. I think that game was over quick. I mean, it was a pretty big bloodbath. I think, I've said this a lot, and I think I've probably talked about it in too much detail. But, I was conflicted, obviously, with Travis being on the other team, and I got my hometown team that really made me into the player I became, and all these fans that rooted for me my whole career. So I had one side of me that very much was rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles and wanted them to win that game, and another side that wanted my brother to achieve his dreams again and get as much success as he can get. And for me, it was just such, it was going so bad for him. My heart was out for what was going on with him and the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, very, very happy for the Philadelphia Eagles. Happy for Jalen Hurts. Happy for Nick Sirianni. Happy for the city. I mean, the parade, one of the best things about the parade is it's so physically, it's so apparent how much it means to so many people. With that many people lining down Broad Street, people going crazy. They're there the day before the parade is set to get spots. This means so much to so many people in the city of Philadelphia. The last time we were able to do it, it was a blast. This time, even just walking around and being there and experience it, just as much fun. It was awesome for the city, awesome for this team. So, yeah, couldn't be more proud of those guys.
You know what's crazy, Ernie, and I've said this on the podcast before. I've been in Philadelphia since 1984-85. People like the Sixers when they're winning. They like the Phillies when they're winning. They like the Flyers when they're winning. But when the Philadelphia Eagles own the city of Philadelphia, it's hard to explain to people. Like the Red Sox and the Patriots, that's the only thing that's conflict. Like even the Chicago Bulls
and Celtics.
Yeah. So it's always conflicted. But like Chicago, no matter how much success the Bulls had, it was a Bears town. Michael has always said that. He says, it's a Bears town. And it's always been like the Lakers, there's nothing in L.A. that can, like USC, UCLA, even though the Dodgers are juggernaut now, it's an L.A. town. Mm-hmm. So the point I want to make, so I'm going to ask you a football question. Ernie gave me a question. So I like to listen to all the analysts after the Super Bowl. They're like, so Andy Reid got a lot of criticism. This is right up your alley. As an offensive lineman, when you can't block those guys, what adjustment would you have liked to see Kansas City make? Because I didn't even realize that after the game they never blitzed. They never blitzed the whole game. As an offensive lineman, your job is to call protection most of the time, correct?
Correct, yeah.
What adjustment would you have made to stop that onslaught?
I mean, listen, if they're getting home with 4, it's going to be really, really hard. And you can go to Chip Pro, but then they got to back up in at left guard, and he's getting beat by Milton Williams. They were so dominant up front, Philadelphia, in that game. You can go to boots and play actions to try and throw them off their pass rush. But when you're not successful on first and second down, you're getting into conducive situations on third down to rush the passer. It's going to be really hard. I think there's always things you look back and you could have done better. But my thing is, the thing that hurt Kansas, when you don't have an offensive line that can at least solidify the line of scrimmage and give you a chance, you're going to be screwed in this league. Offensive lines rarely are going to win you games, but they will lose you a ton of games. If you don't have tackles that can hold up on the edge, and that's what hurt Kansas City all year round. They got by because their defense was so good and Mahomes was so special. But once they faced this Philadelphia front that was like on a mission, I mean, they were rushing hard. They have the horses up front. They tried to slide Joe Thuney out to left tackle to help mask some of the issues that have been happening all season, but he's not a tackle. Now they got a backup in at left guard. I don't know that Andy could have done much, to be honest with you. I think that was a team that is very evidently needs to improve that position this offseason. And it hurt them all season long and ended up hurting them really bad in the Super Bowl. And then it compounded issues. It wasn't just them. They had drops on the perimeter. Pat started getting happy because he felt that pressure and he wasn't himself. The entire offense was very uncharacteristically themselves. But you try to get the ball out. To answer your question, schematically, get the ball out quick. But that pressure was on them fast. They were trying to.
Yeah.
But you get the ball out quick. You do play actions. You do screens. They tried the screen to Trav. The guy got on Pat too quick and he couldn't get it off. Like Andy was trying to do things to minimize it, but it's like everything they tried just didn't work.
You know, Jason, I'm old enough to remember that when I went to games as a kid, open up the program, and there would be these drawings in the middle of the program with all of the officials' signals. So you knew when you looked down on the field what a personal foul was and what offside was and what illegal procedure was. There was also one of an official with his palms up like this and, you know, those little things indicating movement like this, which was aiding or abetting the runner, okay? So now and it was outlawed, Chuck, so you couldn't help your running back. You couldn't push your guy to get extra yards. Yeah. Now you got this tush push going on. And the Eagles have perfected it. And it's a source of like conversation. Like, should this be allowed, or is this like what Jim Nantz said? This is not really football to me. Number one, what do you think of the play? And number two, and this is the longest question in the history of the steam room, what is it like to be the center when the tush push is going to happen?
Well, I guess I'll go what I think of the play first, and then just personally what it's like for the center. What I think of the play, and I hear what Jim Nantz is saying. I think Bill Cowher said something similar, but it depends on what you think of football. Like if you think football is this incredibly meticulously organized game with, you know, it's like chess and whatnot, then I can see why you don't think the tush push is a very football-centric play. But if you think football is a sport that comes down to physicality, aggression, and like it's gonna be our will versus your will for a yard, you know, I think that sums up football pretty good to me. And like they can push on their side as well. There's actually, Jacksonville did a decent job of stopping it this year when they were pushing their D-line. I think that the play in general, you still can't pull the runner, but now you can push, and that has allowed this new technique to be instituted. I think that, is it unfair? I mean, probably, yeah. I think it's a 92% chance. Now, other teams don't run it at the same success rate. So maybe the Eagles just happen to be really, really good at it. And is that fair to necessarily punish a team just because they're better at it than everybody else? I don't think that that's fair. For me, as the center, it sucks. It is the worst play that you would ever want to run. It's a grueling play where you're going to get as low as possible. Damn near, I'm going to try and get this part of my face mask, if I get grass on my face mask and I lump up a piece of grass, I probably did the play pretty good because that means I went as low as possible and drove forward. If you get low and go forward, it's going to be really hard for the defense to stop it. And ultimately, that usually means I'm on the bottom side of dang near 1,200 pounds of human flesh, and you're just waiting for people to pull each other off of you. So it's not the funnest play, but at the end of the day, you know how big of an advantage it is. Essentially, we're saving ourselves a turnover, whether it's a punt or whatever. So it's such a difference maker at the end of the day that you're always willing to do that for the team.
What a great description from a guy who's right there in the middle of it.
So me and Ernie's been stealing money for 40 years.
35
years. I've been stealing for 25 years. How you liking this media stuff?
Hey, you ain't lying. Stealing money is a great way to describe it. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I get paid to just talk about something I love and to do it with a lot of like-minded people. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy when you really think about it. I spent 13 years doing plays like the tush push and beating the crap out of my body. And I mean, even that I felt like I was getting overpaid to do. I was getting overpaid to play a game like that I did voluntarily as a child. And I got to do that for 13 years in an incredible city. And now I get paid more money to just talk about it, which is insane to me. Like it keeps changing. But it's awesome. I work with a lot of great people, whether it's with the podcast with my brother, the late night show with NFL Films. ESPN obviously has set me up fantastically and been great for launching this next part of my career. So I am very blessed to be able to work with all these fine people. And I just look forward to getting better at it. Just like, that's one of the things I do enjoy the most is there's feedback and you want to improve and you want to do as good of a job as possible for the people that are tuning in. And I'm looking forward to continuing that journey.
So, you talk about the podcast. So you guys, when me and Ernie, so we were out doing COVID and we get the phone call and say, would you guys do a podcast? We're like, I don't know. If Ernie wants to do it, I'll do it with Ernie.
If Chuckster wants to,
yeah,
sure.
And
I
said, and this is a true story, Jason. And I was saying to myself, this is going to be the stupidest ever. Like, I 100% said that and then I said, let's do it. Now, I look forward to it every week. It's been amazing. Number one, when you and Trav started the podcast, now y'all right at the top of the food chain with podcasts. Are you surprised at the success? Because, like, me and Ernie we got nominated for the best podcast one year. I'm like, we did? And you and Trav you guys have.
Why?
Yeah, I said, you and Trav are you pleasantly surprised how well the public has received your podcast?
Oh, very much so. I mean, similar to you guys, when we first started talking about doing it, we had seen some other guys, Pat McAfee, Bustin' with the Boys, Draymond Green in the NBA. Like, there's been some other guys that had gone into that space and even current players that kind of caused us to take that leap because especially when you're still playing, it's like, man, is this going to be a distraction? Is it going to be viewed at like we're not preparing for the games? Like, we don't want that. We want this to be done the right way. And we ended up doing it. And it's just so much fun just talking to your brother. Like, to me, similar, I'm sure how you guys feel as friends, it doesn't feel like work. Like, I'm just going to go here.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to get to be stupid.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to be stupid with my brother. And that's one of the things I think that I like about the show is like, we're not going to take it too seriously. We're just going to have fun, give frames of reference on stuff that comes up organically. And am I amazed at the success it's had? Absolutely. I never thought in a million years it would get to where it was, even in year one. We just were like, hey, we're just going to try this out, see what happens. And we just so happened to do it the first year. We both go and play each other in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage. And it was an unbelievable journey. Right the first year we started it. Second year, my brother goes to the Super Bowl again. Obviously, his dating life factors into a whole new fan base tuning into the show. So there's a lot of things that like coincided with the show being successful. But I think the thing that I enjoy the most is just it's a reason for me to sit down every week and talk with Trav. And we get to talk to some amazing people. Right, we got to talk to Charles Barkley, a guy who Travis stole his name after. We get to talk to Adam Sandler. We get to shed our viewpoint on the game, and as players, it's awesome because you get to control that narrative too. A lot of the times, as you guys often like, the knuckleheads in the media are controlling the narrative. Well, now players have more of a platform to say what's happening out there than anybody, and that's a hell of a tool if you can utilize it in the right way. So it's been nothing but great. Are there times where you don't want to do it? When, for us, the last part of my last year where we went on a 7-game out of 8-game losing streak, that I want to do the podcast and go up there and talk about how terrible we were? No, I didn't want to do that. But you do it because, the fan base that has showed up has earned it. And you get to correlate what you think you can to improve. But it ain't fun when it's happening like that, that's for sure. But by and large, love doing it with my brother. And it's caused us to even become closer. He has gone and been massively successful in Kansas City, and we've been apart for so long. Now, all of a sudden, we've been brought back together through this, which has been great.
So that was my next question. I can't remember where I read it. that y'all never really talked as much until you started doing the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we're brothers. We would text each other every once in a while. I'll call them, obviously, on the big days. We were always in group chats, you know what I mean, with like former teammates of ours, their high school buddies or whatnot, where you're sending videos or commenting on stupid things happening in the world, stuff like that. But, you know, to sit down for once a week to have a meaningful conversation about what's happening in his life, what's happening in my life, what's happening with our teams, what's happening in the NFL or in the world. I mean, that was not the case. And I think, you know, especially for us, we were so bogged down with our own personal, I guess, ambitions to be the best players in the world, that really took precedence over everything in our lives. So I think coming back to this and not rekindling, but like, you know, reorganizing my brother and I's relationship to where we're talking every single week because, you know, you grow up with somebody, we went to the same college for 21 years, you're with the same person, to then all of a sudden not do that for a decade and then come back to it and see where he is and where I've been and kind of coalesce there on the pod has been awesome.
Jason, when you retired last year, how much did you talk to Travis about the decision?
A lot.
And is the same thing going to be happening now on his end?
For sure. Yeah. I'm sure we will talk about it. We've already talked about it a little bit, and I'm sure he's going to go through a process of figuring that out. I think for me, my brother, and this is one of the reasons I think the podcast works really well, is we're very similar people, but we also have different ways of thinking about things. And sometimes I can way overanalyze situations, and any big decision I'm having in my life, I think about the negatives and like, if this happens or this, or I can go do that, or I want to do too much. And my brother has this way of being like, hey man, you want to play or you don't want to play? Like he'll say something like that, where it's just like, don't worry about all these minor things. He doesn't say this, but keep the main thing. Like, he has a way of just looking at something like it's just this, and I'll think about that, and I'm like, man, God dang, that dude, that's right. I'm way overthinking all of this crap, and I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about being on the podcast with us. Our personalities play off each other so well, but just for any life decision, I've gone to him for advice in the media world, everything. I think that he has a way of thinking about things that just way simplify what I'm making it out to be. And 9 times out of 10, he's right about all of it.
So are you choosing this point here to announce what your brother's doing here on the Steam Room?
Like I'm saying, I'm way over analyzing his decision for him. I'm like, all right, well, if you do this, you can do that. And if you do that, you can do this. And I think I think he probably in his heart already knows what he wants to do. That's the reality of it. You know,
it's hard to get the words out though, isn't it, Jason?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I wrestled with it for 3 to 4 years. And in my heart, the year before I stopped playing, all those years, I still wanted to play the game. I wasn't ready to stop. And last year, before this season, when I decided to retire, in my heart, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't have that same desire to do it anymore. I didn't think that I was going to be going and improving at this point, and I didn't want to keep doing it. So that's the biggest thing for me, was like, you know, we can sit here and debate it and talk about it. And that's why I think Trav very much was like, listen, man, you want to play or don't want to play? Or like, he would just say something like that and say, all right, I'm going to stop thinking about all these other reasons and just focus on that. And just that makes the decision a lot easier a lot of the times.
I tell you, Marnie, it's a traumatic experience. It's traumatic because you're never going to play basketball or football again, something you've done since you were like a teenager.
Or younger.
It is so hard to get the words out. But I caught myself as a player, I couldn't play anymore. And I kept saying to myself, you know what? I'm going to get myself in great shape, and I'm going to go out on a high. And then I was like, wow, I was really good during the summer playing against air. But then when I saw that 26-year-old and he was kicking my ass, I'm like, wow. and that's a decision. But I tell all the guys, and I've had some private conversations about guys asking me about retirement. I says, it ends badly for everybody. I says, no, the closest is probably Jim Brown. That was 100 years ago. I says, every player loves it so much you play till you can't play anymore. But in your mind, you keep saying, I want to go out on my own terms. Nobody goes out on their own terms.
Are you sure? I mean, is that for real? I mean, I could see, like, if it's some catastrophic injury that ends your career, you'd say, man, I wasn't ready to do that.
Ernie, nobody's all NBA and retires.
Yeah.
no player is an all pro who retires. If you're an all pro or an all star, you never retire. It ends badly, and there's different degrees of badly. I've seen great players end up playing on 3 different teams their last 3 years. In all sports, not just one sport, all sports. I sucked my last 2 years, but I had the contract.
Which didn't.
Which
didn't suck, yeah.
I didn't. But I was like, but the worst thing about sports is you're always playing against younger people. You're not playing against people your age. This ain't the Champions Tour where you play. I think if we get a bunch of 6-year-olds together and try to play, Ernie, I think I can beat you one-on-one. It's gonna be tight. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna post up in the end. But that's the one thing that's crazy about sports. You're 35 playing against a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, and that is like, because I went through that. I remember playing against guys who were older. I was like, this guy got no chance against me. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, it's traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I did retire. I did retire after an All-Pro season, so I'm one of the ones that retired after being an All-Pro. But I could feel to what Chuck's saying, because I remember having Chuck on, and I asked him a lot about retirement. When you start when you start getting beat by guys that you're like, I shouldn't be getting beat by that guy, and that's not trying to throw shade at anybody to me, but I was still playing at a high level, but I could feel that I was not the same player, and it was only going to get worse, and it was getting harder and harder to do it in a way that was enjoyable. So
when he called me and asked me about retirement, I says, once you say those words, it's over. I said, we're not like boxers where you come back like 2 or 3 times, have your last fight. I said, yo, man, right. My advice to you would be play as long as you can. But you got to understand something. When bad players start kicking your ass, that's when it's time to go home.
Yeah, Jason, when you were talking about the heights, talking about the opportunity that the podcast gives you, and you said, yeah, and my brother's dating life has given us a whole new audience too. So look, I'm not going to turn this into a big Taylor Swift thing, but tell me, when did you find out for the first time that your brother was going to go out with Taylor Swift?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember.
And did you say you are not?
I don't. No, I'm really trying to remember when that first moment was right now, and I'm drawing a blank on the first moment. Like, I remember the first time he said he was hanging out with her, and I remember just being like, "Are you kidding me? Like, you're hanging out with Taylor Swift? Like, that's insane. That's awesome for you. Great." I mean, but you meet a lot of people. I think this felt different, and I'm talking about Travis. And then what also felt different is just the way he talks about her and talked about her from the moment he was with her. You could tell how much he really, really liked her right from the get-go and just first impressions. And I think that the level early on of that was something that was very eye-opening to me when we first had discussions. So, yeah, let's go there.
Good answer, man.
I know
well thought out.
Yeah, I know a little bit more about your mom than your dad. What do your parents mean to you?
Man, they mean the world to me. I think we were a really small family. I have one uncle, one aunt, and no cousins, right? So my mom and my dad were really like my aunt was really involved. My uncle lived down in Florida, but it was really my mom and dad through our entire lives. And they both brought so much to the family from a perspective of love and wanting, and for us being the most important thing in their lives, that they let us and did everything they could to allow us to do anything we wanted. And they pushed us to try things and to play every sport that we could and to get good grades, which didn't always fall into category. But they wanted us to be successful, and they pushed us so hard in the right way. And on top of that, they loved us so much that we just had this incredible feeling of family. And my dad was my role model growing up. And I thought he was the smartest guy in the world. I thought he was the most impressive human being. Like everything he said, I took like it was just, the God's truth. And he instilled so much of a toughness and a work ethic and a mentality in me and my brother that I'll always be indebted and grateful to him. And then my mom is kind of twofold because she was this loving, nurturing person, but she was working her ass off. She was the one making most of the money for the family.
Wow.
She worked a 9-to-5 job. She came home, she cleaned, she cooked. Like mom did. Growing up, I had no idea how much, and I've told my mother this, like growing up, because dad was with us more and more involved with the sports aspects of it, I always gravitated to pop more and our personalities blended more. But growing up, I look back at my mom after I started having kids. I'm like, Mom, I got to tell you, I had no idea how hard you were working and everything you were doing for our family. And I want to let you know now how much more I appreciate everything you've done. And I've never told you that because I didn't know. But now having my own kids, it's like, I can't believe you had that amount of ability to do everything you were doing. So they both were just so instrumental in raising us, loving us, and still to this day supporting us in whatever we do. I love them both to death do us part. You know what I mean? Like I will do anything for them, anything.
So we'll let you out of here on this one. You have a beautiful family. When I came up, I didn't get it. I want to meet your wife. I had an opportunity. I waved at her. I said, I want to meet you at some point. But you got a beautiful family.
Fourth baby on the way, too.
I get that was my question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about
Are you
that.
going to keep having babies until you have a boy?
Hey, I mean, listen, that's not up to me. That's not my decision. I got the easy part. I'll keep doing my part, but I think Kylie's about coming to the end of wanting to pop these things out. I think this pregnancy has been a long one for her. She, this is our fourth girl. We'll see. This one might be it. There hasn't been any firm decisions made. We've talked about the V word. We've brought it up. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I think, we'll see. I don't think it's necessarily if we want to have a boy because at the end of the day, we're not shooting with good percentages. We got to give up on that idea. It's like, do we want to have another child? And then if we want to have another one, we'll do that. But I think as of right now, that's not definitely or not definitely happening. Yeah.
Jason, there's a wolf that just walked behind you.
Yeah. What is that?
Baloo, come here, Bubba.
That's a big old dog. Yeah, nice cameo.
He's running. That's our dog Baloo.
I wondered what that was. I wondered, is that his crate behind you back there?
That was a puppy crate, so
Okay.
that's not for Baloo.
Oh,
That
I thought it was
different-
I thought it was like a sleeping snow leopard back there, or a zebra. I didn't know what that was back there. Okay, very good.
It's a big one.
Hey, when I get back to Philly this summer, I need some garage beer.
Oh my gosh, there is nothing more than I would enjoy to drink some ice cold garage beers with you, Chuck.
That's
anytime.
That's his beer brand.
We're gonna make it happen.
We got to give garage beer some love, man. I can't wait.
Got the sign back there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's
That's right.
all good.
I think I've got it covered, but yeah, I think. Listen, nothing goes better with golf than some ice cold garage beers. We're gonna enjoy them, Chuck.
And a cigar or two for the Chuckster.
Soon as basketball over, my brother.
All right, you bring the cigars, I'll bring the beer.
Yes, sir.
Deal.
Jason Kelce, what a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for your time. And
All right, thanks, guys.
good luck with that new youngin'. Girl dad all the way in here, I can tell.
That's awesome, brother.
Chuck and Ernie in Steam Room. Come and join us in Steam Room. Chuck and Ernie in Steam Room. Leave your towel on in Steam Room.
This has been a fun show, as
Yes,
always.
it has. I love Jason Kelce, man. He was
Good dude.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Wonderful to
Jason.
wonderful to talk to him. And we always kind of wrap things up with a couple of things. We got the answering machine. We got the good for the soul. And 3 calls today on the answering machine. Not that we only got 3 calls. We get so many. But for Cap, it's like he's got to listen to a lot of these, decide what's
What
going to
exactly
fit.
does he do the rest of the time?
Cap is a busy dude.
What
He's
does
a
he actually
producer.
do? Does he
He's
work
a
for Turner?
producer. Yes. He's a
What
producer.
does he do like on the other days we don't do Steam Room?
He's always producing.
Okay.
Always producing something.
He get the French Open now.
404 Roland Garros.
Rolling. Ernie, you doing that?
No. BA.
BA?
Yeah.
BA's the best.
404.
I love BA. That's Brian Anderson for y'all folks at home.
404.
987-0330.
Yeah, a lot of folks know that number and call, and we get things like this.
Hello, world. This is Charles Barkley. Leave me a message.
Hey Charles, hey Ernie, loyal teamer Sebastian from Germany here. Thought I'd sprinkle in some international flavors since you always say you wonder where all the calls come from. First of all, Chuck, congrats on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. I don't know too much about football, but it seemed like the Philadelphia defense made a great job of keeping Mahomes in check. Referring to your episode with Coach Ryan Day, you said something like, people don't know what it's like to be famous. And yeah, people don't know, but I want to know. So what is it like to be famous and rich? Thank you so much for doing the Steam Room and keep putting smiles on all of listeners' faces. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Nice call from Germany to get things started.
Munich, Germany, one of the 5 best places I've ever been in my life. I love Munich, Germany. Man, being famous.
What made Munich special for you?
It was like New York City, to be honest with you. It's a humongous city. People were friendly. If they didn't speak German, you would think like, man, I'm in New York City. But the people were, I always tell people, like Toronto is a clean and nice New York. Toronto's my favorite city in the world. Munich, Germany was just like that, except nice people. Because, New York is a pain in the ass.
Okay.
I mean from Kenny and
on down.
On down.
Okay.
And,
so what's it like to be famous, Chuck?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Everybody has an opinion about you. A lot of people don't like you automatically. Number one, because their life sucked. And, they have 0 reasons to dislike you, but they feel the need to say something. A lot of times it's mean. You meet great people too now. Don't get me wrong. You meet great people. But some of the mean stuff that's done and said about you, you're like, wow, that's part of the gig.
Tell me this, because I'm glad he brought the question up. Because, we get recognized because,
Yes. Yes.
But for guys like you and Shaq,
Yeah.
you can't go anywhere, Chuck.
Anywhere.
You can't go 5 feet without somebody recognizing you.
That's the fun part of it,
Is
and
it
the worst part, and the worst.
Or are there days where you say, I just can't do it today?
I can't. Well, see, that's the thing, Ernie. I can never be in a bad mood because I can never be in a bad mood because the thing that I learned from Dr. He's always say hello, always take pictures, always sign autographs, which I do. He says that's the only time that person probably going to meet you in their life.
And a million people could say, Chuck was so great, but the one person who didn't get the autograph or you didn't look back and smile at him.
And he going to go tell everybody.
Yeah.
And it's going to spread. Like, his family hates you forever.
Yeah.
His wife hates you. His girlfriend hates you. His kids hate you. Like, man, I had something else going on. So you can never, I call it, you have to always be on.
Yeah.
You can never be in a bad mood.
You know what's funny, too, is like my daughter Maggie, when she was small, I took her to a PGA tournament out near where we live.
Yeah.
and she was among those kids waiting for players
Oh,
to
my
sign,
goodness. Yeah.
something. And I'm not going to name the player, but she was like, "Oh, there's," and I said, "Right, go up," and handed him thing, and then handed him a Sharpie, and he looked up and snapped her. "I've already got a Sharpie." And she just kind of backpedaled and came back to me. I was like, and for years, when we saw that guy on TV,
She hated his face.
I hate that guy.
Yeah, I know.
And it is. It's that one moment. You got one chance.
It's
and-
like after
yeah.
after an NBA game, it's 100 kids waiting outside. I made a rule. Hey guys, I'm on sign 15 to 20. That's it. Because I'm tired and I want to go get something to eat. And a couple kids calling you, you drive away.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong, but that's the gig.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
All right. Next call.
Charles, this is Spike. Sorry for the noise on FDR going uptown. Just want to very quickly tell you, happy birthday. Love you. We've become very close doing these commercials. You just make me laugh. You're very generous, and people don't know that, man. You keeping it low. You're not doing publicity, but you've helped a whole lot of people, including me. So enjoy your birthday. And when you coming to the garden? When you coming to the garden? The garden. Orange blue skies, man. Don't get dang up on me and Kenny Smith. All right, later.
Spike Lee, one of my favorite people in the world.
Saw him at All-Star Weekend,
I
courtside. as
had to
always.
give him a big hug All-Star Weekend, and he's did a few of my Nike commercials. He's obviously with me and Sam and Jennifer Gardner, Maddie Johnson, and this year Kareem, all in these Capital One commercials. It's an honor and a privilege to work with him. One of the best to ever do it. I will tell you this funny story. I was going to punch him in the face one time.
You were going to punch Spike in the face.
Yes, I was.
Why?
So I had talked to Michael. We were.
Well, how old were you?
Oh, probably.
Just when you were playing?
Oh yeah, when I was playing, he was shooting a Nike commercial.
All right.
And Michael had done a bunch of stuff with him. So me and Michael were playing golf. He said, "What are you doing next week?" I said, "I'm shooting a commercial with Spike." He says, "Oh my God, he gonna work you to death. You got to lay down the ground rules, blah, blah, blah." So Ernie, you move this table right here. Spike's standing there with a camera. I had to dribble a basketball and keep stopping, showing my feet. I did that, I'm not even joking, for 3 hours. And they only using the spot like a half a second. Spike is a workaholic type of dude.
And a perfectionist. it would seem.
Perfectionist. I dribbled in the same spot, Ernie, for 3 hours.
It's just like when you were playing.
That's right. That's right. Hey, after I left that spot, I was so damn tired. I want to punch this dude in the face.
Exhausting
I do.
work.
I'm seriously. America, I'm not even joking. You move this table right here. I just dribbled around for 3 hours, and it was only in the commercial for like a half a second.
Yeah.
But
It was the linchpin to the whole spot.
oh my God. I want to punch him so bad that day after dribbling around for 3 hours for a half a second spot of my shoes. But you know what? It's been an honor and a privilege to get to know him as a friend. And I cannot wait for the new. Actually, I was watching the Auburn game last night, and they showed one of the old Capital One spots from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Sam,
That's the one with Willie Nelson.
and I was pissed because I never got to meet Willie Nelson. He's on my bucket list.
Oh.
I mean,
So
so
they must have shot his thing separate.
he shot his thing separate. And I remember telling Syke and Sam, I said, dude, he's on my bucket list. And Sam said the most interesting thing. He says, Willie plays golf every day.
Oh, yeah. You
And I
should
said,
tee it up.
I said, way to throw gasoline on my fire.
Just like you teed it up with Jason Kelce. You should just
Yeah.
have a friend.
Yeah.
Have Sam set it up. You and Willie go
But
out
see,
and play.
wouldn't you ever met Willie Nelson?
I have not.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be one of the people who's a living legend?
Yeah.
Like I was like, if I got to play golf with Willie Nelson, hey, go ahead and take me now, Lord. I'm good.
Next call.
Hey, Chucky, this is Roy Green. Happy birthday, and don't worry about me being nice every day. Only this day, happy birthday. But tomorrow, you know what I'm doing tomorrow. Take care, buddy. Happy birthday. We love you.
What is he doing tomorrow? Is he taking you out to the golf course?
So Roy finally just broke the streak. I had beaten him like a drum. Like, he hadn't won since Biden was president or since 24. I was rubbing it in his face because I just been beating him like a drum. He finally stopped the streak last week, and I can't hear that because I want to say he gonna never beat me again. But that's my guy, Roy Green, man. He's my guy.
All your buddies calling you.
Yeah.
On your 62nd birthday.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody. I got probably 125, 30 texts a day. I'm going to get back to everybody at some point.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah. I try to. Mm-hmm. I try to. It's going to take me a minute.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate.
Do you say the same thing to everybody, or is it kind of like a thumbs up? Are you going to emoji these folks or heart these things?
That's actually a good idea. I always say thanks very much for the text.
But then it sounds like it was probably one of your people who did it.
I don't have people.
It's really, but that's what it sounds like. Unless you personalize it, say, hey, so nice, Roy, thanks a lot. Then it's like,
man, I don't have time to come up with stuff for everybody.
I know, but maybe,
thanks a lot.
But maybe you personalize it. Maybe you say, you know what, for the next hour, this is what I'm going to do.
An hour?
Got 125 texts to return.
I don't have an hour to sit around and talk to.
What are you going to do? What are you going to miss some TV?
Today is golf day. And I figured out
Today
something.
Today is golf day.
Yeah, Thursdays.
Watching golf on TV.
Yes.
You can do it while you're watching golf on TV.
I'm not going to be texting while I'm watching golf. And let me tell you something. I found something else out, too.
What?
They show SWAT on Sundance. SWAT's one of my favorite shows on
Sundance.
Yes. They show all the old shows on Sundance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
don't interrupt any of your viewing habits to actually interact with a person. Whatever you do.
Should assume that they're not going to get a text back because I'm going to get a lot of texts.
Mm-hmm.
They should assume that.
At least something.
I wish I could mass produce like automatic reply.
Is there a way that you could text everybody who has texted you birthday greetings?
With a thumb up?
Or would you just have to keep pasting all their names on the to line? That might be a little.
No, I have trouble with the pasting thing.
Yeah. How about why don't you just?
No, I got it.
You text somebody.
I got it, Ernie.
Say, hey, can you tell all these people thanks?
Ernie, I got it.
What?
Every person who texts me today for my birthday, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really good for the soul. Speaking of which.
EJ is good for the soul.
I think that would be a great way to end the show.
Love that idea.
Good idea, Ernie. A toast to my big brother George, the richest man in town.
All right, so look, it's kind of a double-edged sword. This, scrolling on the internet. Sometimes you can see some things that make you laugh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can see things you don't care about. Sometimes you're left saying, you know what? I started doing this 25 minutes ago. I really should have stopped. But, you see a video and then you click on it and then you got something else. So anyway, you go down that rabbit hole, and I try to avoid that as much as possible. But as I was having a cup of coffee this morning and I'm just kind of looking at a couple of things, I stumbled across Lil James Tucker. Lil James Tucker. I don't know how old Lil James is, but I think every now and then you can use a little Lil James Tucker. Watch this.
Mama, you thankful? Oh, I'm thankful. So keep being thankful.
What? I'm thankful.
You done woke up this morning. God giving you another opportunity to wake up and be productive. Yeah. So be thankful.
I'm thankful, James Jr.
Be thankful all day.
I'm thankful.
Okay? I'm just making sure. Because y'all know, like I like to say, it ain't all good, but it ain't all bad either. So be thankful. Be happy. Smile.
That's awesome.
Was that good for your soul?
But you know what, Ernie? We've had this conversation before. It ain't always good, It ain't always bad. That's life.
Yeah.
You have to keep rolling.
So be thankful.
Yeah.
Be thankful he got up again today,
Yeah.
and that you'll do the same tomorrow.
Yes.
Thanks to Lil James. That was good.
Lil James, thank you, brother. And we're thankful.
Needed that. Check out. He's got like more than 1 million followers.
Really?
Yeah.
I just hear his mom laughing in the background. That's hilarious.
So next time you're online on your phone, Lil James Tucker, look it up.
Lil James Tucker.
Thank you for that little bit of wisdom.
Yes.
And in the midst of the craziness here on Chuckster's 62nd birthday.
Wow.
And that's it for another edition of the Steam Room. Be thankful, everybody. Smile, Chuck.